In this video I'm going to show you how you can change the song settings in Garageband for iPad. So in Garageband for iPad you can change various settings for your song, such as the tempo and the key and the time signature. These settings apply to the entire song and can be adjusted at any time. So we've looked very basically at settings before, but to access them make sure you're in track view. Tapping on settings brings up these options. Adjusting the tempo. Tap on tempo, tap and hold. You can then change the tempo to be faster or slower. Change your time signature by tapping anywhere here on time signature, and then you can have an option of 4/4, 3/4 and 6/8. Key signature, if you know which key you're going to be in, for example, if you know if it's a piece of music that's already written, or if you know it's a particular instrument that requires the key signature, then you can change that here. It's set here to G minor, but you can change that just by tapping any of these keys, and you can see that as it does, then changes the actual music. If you pre-recorded them, it will then change the MIDI on the left hand side. Be aware of that it's best to do this in advance before you record anything, otherwise anything that's been recorded will be altered, especially if follow song key is switched on. If this is switched off, it doesn't matter what key you press, the MIDI is unaffected. This doesn't affect audio because audio is fixed. Metronome and counting then, you can then decide whether you can have metronome and counting to be on, whether you want it to be a visual counting, and the sound of that. You can even change the level and how loud or how quiet that click is, which is really useful when you're using louder instruments. Or if you're using instruments that maybe don't want to be heard over the headphones, for example, like a singer, then you can turn down the click in the singer's ear and then it won't bleed into the recording either. Fade out is where at the end of each of the songs, you can then create a fade out effect at the end of every line, the end of the song, and it will then naturally put in a 5-second delay. At the time of recording, I'm not sure if you can change the length of that, but you could probably do that through automation, something which we'll look at in a different video. Now in some versions of GarageBand, you may also see here an option to keep track headers visible. You can enable the option to keep the track header visible while scrolling in tracks view, or you can disable it to make them disappear. And that is a brief overview of the settings in GarageBand for iPad. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.